If you've never heard of a Stormy Kromer, then you're in for a treat. The treat that keeps your head warm and makes you feel cool. Hello and welcome to Best Motorcycle Roads. I'm Tom.
And I'm Todd. We have over 65 years of combined motorcycling experience and 30 years of planning and riding motorcycle trips. We're here to share with you everything we've learned over those years.
Our goal at Best Motorcycle Roads is simple. Make your next motorcycle trip the best it can be. Diving into technology, planning, packing, routes, and other tips and everything in between.
From essential prep to unforgettable routes, we've got you covered.
Before we kickstart today's journey, we ask you to sign up for our BMR Rider Alerts. It's our way of keeping you in the loop with the latest rides, tips, and stories. We promise no spam, only the essentials to enhance your motorcycle adventures. Join the BMR crew today. We'll put a link in the show notes. This segment about motorcycle gear reviews and tips we call the Toolkit. In the Toolkit today we have Beanies, not the babies, but the thin strips of material.
Oh, yeah.
Though, for me, I really like riding with a under the helmet beanie. I have like kind of acidic like sweat, I guess you'd say, and if I ride for a couple 3 days, I'll start to get a rash on my forehead. So I started riding with a beanie, which just kind of wicks the sweat and away from your head, and I really like it. I think it also sometimes provides a little bit of more cooling when you have the vents and the helmet open. Do you ride with one?
I haven't, but you know, I think I probably should. It would probably save the liner of my helmet.
That's
true. A
true.
little longer.
I didn't even think about that.
It would just make it last
because
longer.
mine just looks brand new.
Yeah, and mine does not. Yeah.
Interesting.
It gets eaten up a little bit.
Yeah, and they're really reasonably priced. And you know, even if if it's a really hot day, you can rinse them out and they're dry by morning.
Yeah.
They're really handy. And I don't know. I've rode with them for a while, and I couldn't figure out why I was getting a rash, you know, and then I started figuring out, oh, okay. So yeah, for me it's kind of essential, but it's nice.
So are they cotton or are they a wicking material or what?
Three
what do you
different
recommend?
kinds. Like I think there's some that are latex, there's some that are cotton, there's some thicker ones that you can wear in the winter. But it's kind of, I think I just check the material and kind of give it the sniff test and see what
All right.
see what you think. But I've got one that's a little thicker, and then I've got some that are really thin, and both seem to work similarly. But yeah.
Yeah, because I see people wear, you know, they'll wrap a bandana first and then put the helmet on.
I did that first, and man, it was a pain. You know, I think the bandana is great if you're going to skip the helmet, not recommended. But no, for me, when I found those, that was pretty simple, and you can usually get them 3 for $10. They're not expensive.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
RideWise is the section we focus on planning and safety tips. RideWise is the section we focus on planning and safety tips. Might talk today about how to choose destination routes, picking the right route, and considering factors like scenery, difficulty, and road conditions. You know, we've almost always done this on our own. You have. You've just zoomed in on Google Maps and kind of looked, you know, through things. But I'm finding more and more that there is great information in some of these motorcycle forums.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the Facebook motorcycle forums. The Motorcycle Maps group is great. The Motorcycle Roads and Trip Advice is a great one.
Facebook group, yep.
Yeah, Facebook group. Because both of those groups have over 25,000 riders in it, and they cover like the whole country. And it just feels like anytime you ask a question, there's, you know, 20 people that live close by, or they ride that road on a regular basis. Or you know, they know the destinations, they know the places to stay, they know the places to eat, they can tell you about the condition of the road. You know, they can also warn you that, hey, there's a bridge out or new construction in an area that may not even be listed on your Google map yet.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about like Tail of the Dragon, you know, and I know this year they repaved it in 2024. And now it's open again, and so now you're starting to see posts about that. But I mean, it's a real deal. And then there was actually one I saw recently too, in Wyoming this year. That there was some road that fell out, you know. And so you're right. I mean, it's a lot of these will have I mean, Google Maps is pretty good, but it is nice to know ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, we tried Google Maps a couple of weeks ago, and
it didn't know.
It didn't know the bridge was gone, right?
Well, and I think of also, when you say that, that's really what we're kind of trying to do here. Trying to paint a picture for people about the Midwest and talk to other people about other areas. I mean, so it works out well.
Yeah.
The next segment is what we call the mile marker. It's our story segment. This is the mile marker. Today we're looking at kind of a potential Wisconsin trip. We've been to a few of these cities before, maybe not quite in this order. And it's always, sometimes it's nice, like it's funny. You ride a circle one way. If you turn around and ride it the other way, it looks like it's totally different. So
Totally.
I know when I'm looking at some of these roads, I try to figure out what way did we come through here last time? And then how can we adjust that and get a different look? I mean, this reminded me of Guttenberg, Iowa, when we had come recently from the north and hadn't really come that way, and was like, whoa, where are we at? We didn't even know where we're at. And we're like, oh, well, we've been here before, But it's interesting when you start to see those different looks. Mm-hmm. So what we're thinking about is a Wisconsin and Michigan tour. We're calling this one Turk's Stormy Kromer ride, and we'll talk about why in a minute. But the first day I had to stop in at a town we've loved many times before, Tomahawk, Wisconsin. Tomahawk is a beauty of a little town. We've stayed in it a number of times, and I think one of our favorite places there is the Pine Tree Supper Club, which is just a classic Wisconsin supper club. If you haven't been to Wisconsin, haven't been to a supper club in Wisconsin, you've got to go because they love them there, Yeah. But along the way, that would be, Guttenberg, Prairie du Chien, hitting that Great River Road. For us, it's almost a mainstay of every trip we take, but still, thank goodness, right? Like, it's almost like you get spoiled by it.
Yeah.
So those are some things there. It would head us from Tomahawk to Ironwood, Michigan. A lot of, when you start to get to northern Wisconsin, Michigan, you're looking at forests, and so fun rides through some of the forests. There's the Black River Harbor, Gabo Falls. If we want to stop, there's some waterfalls, and we haven't generally stopped to take pictures at those. Sometimes based on time, sometimes not. But the one place that we would probably go ahead and stay in Ironwood, because that's exactly where the Stormy Kromer factory tour is. So Stormy Kromer is an old hat. Turk gets much more passionate about the hat. But one of the cool things they have in town, and we've been starting to do a little more of these, is they've got the giant cap. So you can go get your picture taken at the giant cap. So it's cool. But there's a factory tour there, which I think would be a fun time to do as well.
It is. Is there a particular style of hat that they make
like
there, or that's the brand, obviously.
The brand is Stormy Kromer,
and they make all sorts of hats, or what?
No, they make Stormy Kromers. It's almost like it's a branded type of hat. It's kind of got flaps and funk. It's an old hat.
Gotcha. Okay.
Some say I think it was a predecessor to the baseball cap, maybe even. So it's cool. You have to look it up. I'm not an expert. Maybe we can give the expert report when we get back. But it's cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of an old style hat, but kind of cool.
All right.
Yeah. So then after, we'd stay in Ironwood, and then spend the day. There's a few things there, including another cool thing is the world's largest Indian 52-foot tall statue, which I think would be pretty neat. And then the downtown has murals. So again, another good place is to take those pictures, maybe stop for breakfast, take some pictures, so you can kind of get those nostalgias going, because I know I can't remember a darn thing anymore, so it's good to have the pictures that I can go look back on. Yeah. We were there. No, I wasn't. Well, here's a picture of you there. Okay, maybe I was. So, I don't remember when we were in this area last time. Did we visit the giant loon statue?
No.
Okay.
No, I know we
16-foot loon statue near Mercer, Wisconsin. So there's all roads in Wisconsin are good. If you don't like the one you're on, just turn on the next one and it'll be great. We sometimes call that riding the alphabet. But I do know that there's a great state park there that kind of has a mountain, Rib Mountain State Park. So that'd be a place to maybe drive through, stop, take a break in, and then...
I've skied at Rib Mountain.
Have you?
Yeah.
There's a lot of great winter events at Rib Mountain.
Yeah.
And then we'd probably stay somewhere in the Eau Claire area, and there's tons of great things in that area. And then swinging back home, you went to Decorah to Luther College, so swinging back through Decorah, Wow, there's roads aplenty there.
Great
Probably
roads,
too many to ride on a trip through, but it's always good to stop and get a piece of pizza at Mabe's.
Oh yeah.
And all that. So it's fun. There's a couple good ice cream shops in Decorah too.
Whippy Dip is one, yeah.
I don't know if that's as good as the Sugar. What's the other one called? Sugar Shack? No, maybe it's the Sugar Shack.
I don't know.
I've been to the Whippy Dip a few times. I was like, we could go down to the Sugar Shack. But
that might be new. I don't know if that was there when I was
probably not
there.
when you were. It's not new, but you forget how long you've been out of there.
True.
But up in the Wisconsin, Decorah, Minnesota area, there's some great roads. Boy, you can't almost go wrong. Mm-hmm. The roads that are there, just up and down some bluffs and valley area. Man, I don't know.
Wow, you're making me want to take a ride up there.
We definitely
soon,
should.
yeah.
I'm not so sure we shouldn't also just tack on maybe a... we recently did that day ride, and we just kind of turned before we got to Decorah.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking maybe we should just hustle all the way up and then see what we can find.
Yeah.
Because, you probably had when you were... But, my son married a gal from Rochester. And there's some ways to get to Rochester from there. And I was like, I need to write this road number down. Like, where am I right now? Because it's a 2-lane state highway. It's a big road, but it's unbelievable.
It's fantastic. You can ride through some great little towns, too. There's some beautiful little towns up there.
That might be one of those days we just go off no maps and just see what we can find. And, we need to make that app that just drives you but avoids gravel. I think Harley has a pretty good option for that, but
they probably
so maybe we'll let Chris lead that day and say avoid gravel.
Would Gemini do that for us?
I don't know. I'll have to check into that before the next time and see. But I don't. The last time I've checked, Google Maps hasn't done a good job of identifying gravel roads, which can be tricky at times. And it's not like it's terrible, and gravel road riding isn't horrible, but it's just gets everything so dang dirty, and then it feels like you got to go wash, and it just gets dirt in places, even on when you're riding, the clothes and the electronics. For me, it's not worth it. I think you take that next step to a different type of bike when you want to ride gravel roads more. And the good news is sometimes they're a little less populated, which is nice. And then there's some fantastic roads that are gravel roads in some of these areas too. You get out west, there's some logging roads. Trans-Wisconsin Trail is a good Jeep and like ADV bike riding trail. There's a section that's pretty sandy if you're not into that. But like when we were in Michigan, there is a ton of like what I would call non-paved road trails that you can go. But what are some other good places around Decorah that one might want to ride to? Between Decorah and Cresco, and then maybe up north a little more. I don't know. There's some great stuff up there.
Yeah, you're only 15 miles or so from the Minnesota border, I think. Yeah,
true.
Mabel, Minnesota's up there.
Yeah, Harmony.
Yep, Harmony. There's all kinds of... There's just roads everywhere up there, I tell you. It's nice.
Well, and it is fun. And this is what we're trying to work on a little harder, is get a little more of a database put together on some of these things, because you want to find those mom and pop shops if you can, and just because sometimes they're more fun and better. 2, you want to support that local economy. It doesn't matter if some of these bigger businesses are going to stay in business no matter what, but some of these need help, and if you're in the area, why not? So it's pretty cool. But no, this would be a great ride. I think we've done similar things. We rode a lot of Wisconsin. We have been in the Ironwood area of Michigan, but to kind of tie in a couple of those places and then maybe find a couple more routes that we haven't normally picked on I think it'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
The podcast can be found on bestmotorcycleroads.com/podcast. All the information you need will be there, but you can subscribe on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, Pocket Casts, and YouTube.
This is the interactive segment. We will be looking for input from you. We want you to send us your questions and suggestions for roads, topics, and anything else you have on your mind. Today's Roadside Q&A comes from Phil. And Phil's asking, how do we always find these quirky roadside attractions, the historical landmarks, or the hidden restaurants that we talk about on our podcasts?
I would start back with what we're talking about. It's like, those, going to those forums is one for sure. It's, And a lot of times, I would say a lot of these we've never found them ahead of time. I mean, some of these ones where we've talked before about going to that Eddington diner and getting a tenderloin the size of a garbage pail top. I mean, those are kind of out there, right? But you know, I would say honestly, and now I think it has closed, but you know, in Marshfield, Wisconsin, we just pulled by. Hey, there's a place, you know, and we kind of it gets a look, right? I mean,
that closed?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a family restaurant. I can't remember. Was it just
Marshall
Town Family Restaurant?
It says
is that the name of it?
Permanently closed, and now it's Nuts. D's Nuts or something. So we'll have to try that. But
all right.
It'll be a better Instagram post maybe. But no, I mean, it was just family restaurant, big skillets. You know, it was awesome.
Yeah.
But
I think like some of the places you found along the way is like Between the Buns. I mean, there was just some like. That was an accident. That was an accident. Yeah, a lot of these have been just accidents.
Find those destinational areas, you kind of start to search for restaurants in that area and just see what you can dig up.
Yeah, but there's plenty of. If you want to just ask on those forums,
I would start there.
Some quirky.
I would start there.
Yeah, I absolutely would too. I know there's a. I wish I could remember the name. There's a place in I think it's Wisconsin that it's a bar and you can. They've got all kinds of. It's not targets on the wall. It's like. Metal tractors or trucks, and you take nickels and you're just like trying to throw them
at them.
Chuck them in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, get things stuck in there.
Oh my gosh, they probably have those sucked right out. That's a
yeah. I don't remember the name of the.
Oh my gosh,
I'm going to ask the question and find out.
I want you to because now I want to know where that is. We could add this to this trip. We're going to be in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Now we have the last mile. It's our way to close the episode with our reflections. I can start today, Todd. I don't know. I'm excited because. Turk loves the Stormy Kromer hats, and he's so passionate about these hats that like I feel like I want to get one and go visit the tour. And I mean, I remember when we toured like the Gibson guitar tour. You know, I think sometimes like I get stuck on the miles, and like I think sometimes it's like we need to learn about what is this ironwood. You know, like. Yeah. Let's do 400 miles. Let's get to the town, and then let's do a little exploring, you know. Let's not beat it up so we're so dead to the world that we don't want to go do anything. But, man, like, that tour was so interesting, and you met so many interesting people. That was great. You know, now I want to go do this, you know, Stormy Kromer tour and figure out what other tours, you know. And I think the last episode we talked about these battlefields and touring these. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old, and this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But... For me, I'm looking forward to thinking about when we design our trips to kind of find a few more things. Not maybe so like, you know, we talk sometimes. I love these big, like we had the biggest bluegill. We, you know, this is going to be a 75-foot Indian when we get done with it. You know, mega hat. You know, like I don't know, quirky things. The biggest ball of twine picture. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
Well, and. You know, you kind of got my mouth watering a little bit for some Mabe's Pizza and the Whippy Dip, you know, up in Decorah.
Yeah.
And when I was up at school up there, that's where I learned to ride. I had a friend that had a motorcycle. I learned to ride, but, you know, I probably didn't explore that area, you know, on a motorcycle enough. And now I'd kind of like to do that. Let's kind of look at getting, at least make that a stop if we can.
For sure.
There's a lot, you know, there's some kind of hidden gems there too, like Melanophy Falls, and you know, there's some neat things to see up there that I'm sure the others in our group have not seen.
Well, and it'd be cool to throw that in the chat, even though you know we proclaim ourselves to be experts in this area, but there's always something else, you know. I don't know if it's still open. There was an A&W that was open in Cresco. You know, it's like there's not many of those that are open anymore.
Right.
So just stuff like that. There's I think Iowa's wrestling museum might be in Cresco too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, just you know the little things like that, or these little quirky businesses that are.
Yeah.
You know.
I do enjoy tours of.
I agree.
Things like that, like a hat place, or, you know, I remember. Well, this is overseas. We took a tour of the what's the crystal, the Waterford Crystal. I took a tour of that plant. And that blew me away that we can't ride our motorcycles.
Precision.
But the precision and how long it takes you to apprentice to learn how to make one particular cut on one particular...
like machine?
You know, well, no, it's all done by hand. But, you know, it can take you like 7 years just to become a master at that one thing.
Wow.
and there's like 50 things to learn. And there's only been one person that has learned how to master all these cuts in the entire history of Waterford Coast. Anyway,
oh, wow. No, I mean,
I'm
but
getting
that's
off.
it,
I
right?
love tours like that.
Yeah, me too. If this episode revved up your day, don't keep it to yourself. Like, subscribe, and share it with your crew. We're all about the thrill of the ride and the bond it creates.
Keep the spirit of adventure alive, and remember, bikes, friends, and endless roads. The stories ride forever. Take care.